carry any veterans, though. Henderson is the senior man at the age of 31. I guess you would say that the total team is in its peak years.
Hello? Hello? All right, I think we're back. I apologize. I think I had a sound issue. Okay, yeah, I fixed it. Sorry about that, everyone. I guess you didn't hear anything that I said for the first 5 minutes of the game. I'll try to fill you in on my comments. We have an unchanged side. It's still 0-0, obviously, as you can see on the scoreboard. Sorry, I'm just getting some feedback in my ear, so let me see. All right, we are back, and I'm just gonna roll with. I'll take my earpiece out as I've changed up a couple things, and maybe trying to get a little bit of the game audio to come through, just in case. Sometimes I miss if there are VAR implications, and I kind of just have to go on the fly and try and read lips. But anyway, I apologize for all of those delays. I do see that we have a couple of viewers with us. Please do join in. Don't be shy. My name is Scott from New Jersey, lifelong Liverpool fan. Happy to talk to you all and meet you all. The main idea is to have some in-match discussion. Oh, as Wolves get slipped through, I think that's going to be offside. It doesn't matter anyway because Raul fires the ball over the bar, and there is the offside flag. Raul obviously going to be well, maybe not obviously. I was going to say definitely a main danger man. Wolves do have Adama. As I spoke about Adama a bit while I was muted the entire time, so you lost all of that. But there's been some reports saying that Liverpool have already agreed to sign Traore for the January window. I would be pretty psyched about that. I'm wondering if you would too. I think a bunch of Liverpool fans maybe would have been a bit more psyched perhaps 2 years ago, because that was really when he was more so at the peak of his powers. But again, he's still as fast as ever. He's not getting old. He's still 25 years old, which is the same as Diogo Jota, who's celebrating his birthday today. And just a little fun exercise I did with a couple of my friends is, who would you rather have? Ivan Toney of Brentford, who has been a darling of the league so far this season, with Brentford having a really nice Hull City, Sheffield United type run, and taking a few unexpected scalps this season. So anyway, Ivan Toney also a lifelong Liverpool fan, so that could definitely make things interesting. I don't think he would ever really be a reasonable target, certainly not currently. I don't think he would do Brentford like that and leave them mid-season, maybe somewhere down the road. But I think the interesting comparison with the two of them are that between Adama and Toney, that is they're, let's be honest, they're not nailed on consistent players. Certainly not at the world class level. But I do think beautiful outside the right footed pass by Trent, and finds Jota, but it's just the trajectory of the ball and the bounce. It wasn't a bad ball from Trent. It just didn't sit perfectly for Jota as he was getting closed down by Semedo by Wolves. And Jota wins a corner. So we'll see what Liverpool can do with that. But back to the Traore and Ivan Toney debate, which I've made up in my mind, basically. I don't think anybody's actually thinking that either. Well, Adama might be. I don't know if it's really a source that can be trusted. But I would be excited to have Adama come on. And basically the feedback that I got from my Liverpool buddies is that we would prefer to have Toney. Both Shane and Liverpool Lee picked Toney. I don't know. Adama is definitely an interesting one. I think he would. Again, I would be very excited for him. I think he would fit in really well. I'm not afraid of his bulk. The only reason I say that is because you really don't see many players in the Liverpool team like that, or really worldwide, looking like that. The last player that had that build was Hulk. But yeah, I think Shane was worried about his end product were we to sign him. But again, I think overall, if you're signing him to be, what role are you signing either of them, even just theoretically speaking, even just in this fantasy world of signing either player, why are you signing them? Are you signing them to rotate into the front three like Jota has? I could understand you'd be a bit worried about that if that were the case. But I think if you sign a player like that to step in in like a Taki or a Origi or Shaqiri role, I'd be quite happy with that. And I would really challenge Liverpool fans to think about it that way, because I think those players are difference makers. Particularly Adama. I mean, his whole Wolves career, as dangerous as he's been, he's never really been a nailed-on starter, which is crazy to think about, because the impact, like, and who does that remind you of? That kind of reminds you, that description reminds you of Shaqiri. He never started at Liverpool, but his Liverpool career wasn't a failure because he was able to come on and be a complete super sub. I mean, he put in some like iconic super sub performances. Speaking of super sub performances, Divock Origi. So again, if Adama's, if it's real and if he is going to come in that capacity, I'm really happy about that. And particularly if it's for £20 million, which was the purported number. So we'll see. Again, it wasn't a source that I trust necessarily, but it is on a lot of Liverpool fans' minds with AFCON looming. It may not definitely even go ahead with this Omicron variant and everything. I think there's discussions that there might be this late cancellation for AFCON. Also remember that if it does go on and Liverpool does get clearance to keep both Mane and Mo till late on, I think they're trying to get both of them to stay through the Chelsea game, which is January 2nd, I believe. What a doozy that will be. Then they would only miss, I think, Brentford and maybe Burnley. I think there's a few other fixtures in cup games, but other than that, it would only be those two Premier League games. So, I don't know. It's a lot of, I know I'm jumping all around here, but a lot of people are saying that people are holding back on Liverpool's title challenge, although, you know, with these last 4 games, and if we go top today, then guess what? All of those people are going to eat their words. I'm not saying they should eat their words. I'm saying that they will. Just because a lot of people are prisoner of the moment, and I mean, the whole reason that I started doing these watch-alongs is I couldn't take listening to NBC's coverage. They're not the highest quality. I don't think that they provide a whole lot of insight, but I'll leave it there. And I think, anyway, my point with that was there is no title race currently. Title race doesn't exist until you can put all the remaining fixtures on the screen and look at the run-in. That's in March, I think, at earliest. So it's bogus for anyone that tells you that there is a title run-in. Sure, are there title challengers? Yeah, a lot of people are really lauding the quality of Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. I have spoken about my reservations about Chelsea, and I even have a YouTube clip up from the last stream that we did, which was the Liverpool and Arsenal game, that Chelsea don't scare me. And I think a lot of people were taken aback by me saying that at the time, perhaps even thinking I was saying something sensationalistic. I don't do things like that. I try to, be honest and relatively objective. But yeah, it's just Chelsea, the more I think about it, the more I realize that they don't really have world-class players. Let me know if you disagree with that, but when you say world-class players, you think about, this is a player that is top 1 or 2 in the world at their position. And Chelsea don't have that. Liverpool have that. I think I might have pinned the tweet recently. Really excited after watching the Liverpool-Southampton game. It was a wonderful holiday watch with family as Liverpool just trounced Southampton. And the commentators were even saying that could have been another 9-0. I think that was a little unfair to Southampton. But in any case, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I put up the pinned tweet that Liverpool have the best goalkeeper in the world, the best center back in the world, the best right back in the world, the best player in the world in Mo Salah, and the best manager in the world. And I understand people can feel free to disagree with me. Those are my true feelings. And again, when you look at Chelsea, they just don't have that. They have some nice players. I'm not dissing them intentionally. I just think if you're honest with yourself, that they don't have superstars in their team. They have nice quality players. I also was quite proud of a tweet that I sent out saying, I think when I was watching the Chelsea United game, and that was just a really drab fixture. That was an awful watch, honestly. Both teams just really didn't have it, at least that day. And I said Chelsea's attack is an artillery of B+. Chelsea have a lot of depth. That's one of their strengths. Yeah, you can rattle off all these really nice players, but I would emphasize nice players. They've got Ziyech and Pulisic and Werner and Lukaku, and none of those players really scare me all that much. When Chelsea are playing well, yes, those players are going to perform well and it's going to seem like nothing's wrong. But Chelsea are starting to hit that blip that I was saying was always coming, and it happens to every single team. But how you win a league, mostly, is you got to minimize that blip. And I just don't think that Chelsea have the experience in this team to win a league, really. And so yeah, that's basically my 2 cents on Chelsea. Well, actually, if I may continue, I'm here alone, so it's not as if anyone's about to interrupt me. I heard a couple stats that just further embolden my opinion in this Chelsea take, is that Mason Mount in his last game, not this morning, but the game before, scored, and that took him to 10 goals under Thomas Tuchel. And he was the first player to get to that level. And that to me just worried me if I were rooting. Well, it would worry me. It doesn't worry me because I'm not a Chelsea fan, but that would worry me if I were a Chelsea fan. Again, a lot of people like to give credit to, they have this strength and depth, but to me, that's a detraction. It's almost like the jack of all trades, master of none. If you're a title-winning team, it's all well and good to get goals from midfield and defense, and that suggests that maybe if your star player, your go-to guy, your goal scorer, most people would have thought going into this season would have been Lukaku. If he goes down, then, or he goes on a icy patch, then other players can step in. But these statistics go beyond that to me. Thomas Tuchel was hired in January of this year. That's almost a year. I'm going to round it down to 10 months. Mason Mount is your top scorer in that time, and he has 10 goals. 10 goals in 10 months, 1 goal a month. Think about that when you compare to other teams of that ilk. That's not good enough. And I'm not saying Chelsea aren't scoring enough goals, but I'm talking, it's just interesting. I think most people would look at Liverpool and say, you're over-reliant on Salah. And you could say that, but guess what? Mo Salah doesn't get injured. Again, knock on wood. But it just, I don't know. I think everyone's saying a lot of favorable things about Chelsea that, honestly, they don't deserve to this point. And I had one last point on this to round it off. That Chelsea can grind out a victory was the last thing. When they played midweek against Watford, they didn't play well, and it was 50-50 possession against Watford. And yet the media is still praising Chelsea like this is some sort of great result. And I get it. You can't pick and choose when you play well. But when I see you grind out a result against Watford, that just further convinces me that this team really isn't that great. And yeah, I mean, it's far too easy for someone to just say, when you grind out a result that you don't deserve to win, that's the mark of champions. Well, guess what? Yes, that can be the mark of champions, but the reverse isn't true. Just because you grinded out a result doesn't make you a champion. And that's what I see. I mean, Man United can grind out a result against Aston Villa or whatever. That doesn't mean that they're going to win the league. So there's all these sort of false positives that I feel like people are applying to Chelsea. The fact that you struggled against Watford kind of tells me, okay, this team isn't champion quality. I'm not saying that I'm saying they won't win the league. I'm not saying it's impossible that they'll win it, but I really feel that Liverpool and City are really going to duke it out for this title run. Beautiful ball by Thiago for Mo Salah, who brought it down on the chest, just making me realize that it's maybe been 7 to 10 minutes that I've even said anything about this game. But anyway, those have just been my honest thoughts as I've watched a few things unfold in the Premier League in the last week or two. And sorry, but I gotta hand it to myself. I kind of had it. Let me know if you disagree or if you feel like I'm being a pompous ass. But when you watch Liverpool, this just looks like a championship team. The amount of goals that we're scoring, we're averaging over 3 goals a game in the Premier League, and we're, 14 games in? That's astonishing. That's not a small sample size. Will it last all season? Maybe, maybe not, but maybe, and that's a scary thing. And again, that was also something that I said when Liverpool fans were reminding me that, we're giving up so many goals. In this Liverpool crowd, and it's Jota who almost had his birthday goal, back post. What a beautiful ball by Trent for Jota. And Jota is just a heading master. Unfortunately, it went the wrong side of the post for him this time, but you cannot back off of Trent, who just is on a standing leg, just curls it to the back post. And Jota was marked, but Trent is just Peyton Manning out there. He's just putting balls where just out of reach of the defender, and really beautiful ball. Nice chance for Jota, and Liverpool knocking on the door. As we get another corner. Nice ball in, and it's Matip who gets the head on it, but it goes looping way high up, and Jose Sa is able to collect that, and he just boots the ball forward for Traore. It really wasn't too much of a Traore was right there with Fabinho. It wasn't as if Traore was going to be on a breakaway, but Fabinho goes to deal with it and has somewhat of a poor touch, but it goes out of bounds for a Wolves throw, probably 30-35 yards from Liverpool's goal. So Wolves have the opportunity to march up the pitch. Interesting little trend happening in the Premier League. You don't see this too often, and yet you saw two in a matter of maybe 4 or 5 days. Was just a long hoofball forward, and the last man back having a terrible time with it, and the very speedy attacker able to go in for a breakaway, referring to Sancho's equalizer against Chelsea, as well as Salah nicking the ball off of Seamus Coleman in the Merseyside derby midweek. Man, that performance on Wednesday was incredible. Totally not out of place. Again, Liverpool just on fire right now, and yeah, I think Klopp said that was the best performance since he's been in England. Unless I'm misinterpreting that, he's saying that's the best performance of his Liverpool career. I'm not sure if he meant against Everton or in a derby game, but that really was some performance. And I think he still gave it an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 performance. I think he gave it a 9 out of 10. And one of the reporters asked him, like, wow, if that's a 9 out of 10, I'd love to see 10 out of 10. And then I think he then downgraded it to an 8. Klopp trying to be a bit of a perfectionist there. But you understand his point. I mean, he was saying that for the first 20 minutes, it was just completely on fire, and then we did let Everton back into the game a bit. So that's what he meant by that. But anyway, Liverpool really in very, very fine form, which I'm really happy to see. I think some Liverpool fans, as well as the media, perhaps getting a little maybe worried or underestimating Liverpool due to the lack of signings. But Liverpool showing that we ain't done yet, and we shall see if Liverpool can notch another title in the Klopp reign. That would be lovely. And yeah, it'll be interesting. This is chapter 2 is just beginning in the Premier League so far. I feel like with Chelsea slipping up, we shall see if they can regain some steam or if they kind of just fall back a bit. Another tweet that I sent out a few weeks ago was Chelsea. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry. That Chelsea they just scream a third place team in the Premier League. I honestly think that I'm not really a betting man anymore these days, but if I could find some odds for Chelsea finishing exactly third, I would certainly consider putting money on that, because I think that they're pretty significantly better than fourth, but not quite as good as the top two. So anyway, we'll see if they... Oh, and Matip going on a little Messi-like run, as he loves to do. But he was thwarted a bit. And yeah, let's see. Trent has the ball on the right-hand side here. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Oh, a couple other is Connor Cody goes down. I think he got stepped on accidentally. Ooh, and that was, I guess I just missed that one. That was a beautiful little slipped ball by Diogo for Robbo down the left-hand side, who plays really effective ball across the 6, and Salah was on rushing, and all he needed was a touch, and kind of surprised that he didn't get it, but there was some retreating pressure from Cody, and that's where he picked up that knock. I think Salah of course, unintentionally, maybe just stepped on his boot or his ankle there. And yeah, I have a few more statistics that I can run by you guys as I prepared pre-match. We can do our little trivia. I don't know if anyone's here to shout out the answers necessarily, but I can prompt you and then give a couple minutes and then follow up with the answers in a few minutes later, a few seconds. So as with last game, I'm going to challenge everybody for 4 names that have played for both Liverpool and Wolves. I came up with 4. There are a few special mentions which I am not including in the 4, but I think there's 4 that if people rack their brains, they could maybe come up with, or at least definitely recognize. As Connor Cody is receiving treatment, the Wolves captain takes a swig of water. Anyway, so the players that have played for both Liverpool and Wolves, looking for 4 in the Premier League era. Meanwhile, I'll just reiterate that record that Liverpool has set as of last game: 18 straight matches with at least 2 goals scored, beating the record set in 1927 by Sunderland. That they had 17 straight matches in all competitions. So Liverpool and Wolves are level at 0, of course, as we know. But I think they would certainly surprise me if we don't extend that record. So really, really impressive, as that's probably the 96th record that Klopp has set as Liverpool manager. It's so hard to keep up with all of them. And the injuries for each team: Wolves without 6 players. Johnny Otto, it's been a while since I've heard his name. I don't know if he's been out of favor or just like perennially injured, but he definitely was part of that sensational Wolves team when Nuno first came up with them. So Johnny Mosquera, I don't know who that is. Neto, really fine player, but I think he contracted COVID. Mark Hall, never heard of him. Willy Boley and Daniel Podence. So forgive me, I don't think that was as of yesterday. Maybe did anyone return to fitness and slip into the lineup and I didn't notice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So of those, Podence actually made the bench. Ooh, I have another honorable mention I'll go with the honorable mentions for the players that have played for both Wolves and Liverpool. Liverpool great Emlyn Hughes. I didn't know that he played for Wolves. Obviously, he played, I think, in the 70s. So, obviously, before my time. But I'm definitely familiar with the name, and I didn't know that he played for Wolves. Paul Ince, English footballing legend, played for Wolves as well as Liverpool, as well as Man United. And Shea Ojo, who is still on Liverpool's books, I believe. He's always been out on loan. Oh, and nice slipped ball for Thiago up for Sadio Mane, and Mane is offside. Doesn't look like either team really have the edge to break the deadlock before the halftime break. Might be some halftime tweaks or motivation to inspire some key to unlock a defense. But anyway, and I'll also add Kiana Hoover, who, just taking a look at the Wolves bench, he escaped my stat assembling yesterday, but he I'm not sure if he made a Liverpool appearance in the Premier League, so maybe that's why he didn't show up, but I know he did show up in cup games, and he definitely was a really highly regarded prospect for Liverpool. I think Liverpool fans were a bit displeased to see him go, but it brought us Jota, so I think you kind of have to accept that one. And Liverpool without Joey Gomez, Naby Keita, Firmino, Cujo, and Harvey Elliott. So yeah, the Liverpool bench is Queven, Ibu, Nat, Tsimikas, Nico, Milner, Ox, Taki, and Origi. As I think most of those players that I just mentioned injury-wise should be due back to a full bill of health rather soon. I think Harvey might be the furthest one out, although I did see I think he's just starting to return to training, maybe just on his own, but I did see a picture of him in full Liverpool training gear. So that is very exciting. Harvey might have been Liverpool's player of the season for the first 5 matches. But yeah, I mean, he was really, really impressive. I think shocked all of us, both Liverpool fans and non, by even starting, never mind really making a rather impressive impact. So anyway, the answer to the trivia question, at least the 4 I was looking for: Connor Cody, Wolves captain. He was said to be the next Steven Gerrard. He was one of many, as Liverpool were really wanting to anoint the next Liverpool born and bred midfielder. But he has fashioned himself a really nice career since going down into the Championship and now really being an impressive Premier League center back. Diogo Jota, of course, the birthday boy. Robbie Keane, I don't think most of you would have gotten, but yes, he did play for Wolves. And Jermaine Pennant, who has been in back-to-back trivia answers. So those are the answers that I was looking for. Oh, and Wolves play a dangerous ball, an almost tantalizingly slow cross into the box, and it required Allison to come about 8 yards out and mop it up. It wasn't the cleanest, but he did get an important touch, as I believe it was Traore on rushing. There's three minutes of stoppage in the first half as Liverpool kind of go on a break, a counterattack that is slowed a bit, but it was Sadio driving forward. Then it went to Henderson. Now it's Salah on the top of the box who lays it off to Henderson, who tries to slip in Trent as Ait Nori was closing him down. I believe Ait Nori was the gentleman who played in that tantalizing cross that created a bit of trouble for Liverpool. But again, it still seems to be increasingly likely that we go into the half level at 0. And yeah. Grealish 10. Hello there. Says, keep going, bro. I appreciate it. Thank you for the encouragement. Let me know your name and where you're tuning in from and who you support. If you wish to keep engaging, I certainly hope you do. I'm going to guess that you are a City fan based on your avatar. But all are certainly welcome. Wolves seem to have another move going forward, although they didn't have enough men forward. They do now. And it's Ait Nori. Oh, my goodness. He does well enough to dangle past his defender, and that's going to be halftime. Grealish 10 says, I'm a United fan, though. I would change your avatar. You don't see me putting up a Man United player in my avatar. But I do appreciate you joining in the chat. And Mike Zaza says peace and 2 hearts. Appreciate it. Please do subscribe to the channel wherever you're watching. I believe you're watching on YouTube. And that is my preferable follow if you're only going to give me one. But I am on all of the below YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't really do anything on Instagram, so I should probably stop listing that, as this bonus coverage has flipped to Newcastle and Burnley. Newcastle in the lead. They desperately need their first win of the season, as they will be the richest club in the world. A lot of people think that they're still going to end up in the championship. I say they'll turn it around and work something out. But anyway, I'm going to take a halftime break. Do stay with us, just 15 minutes, and I will be right back to join you for the second half. Cheers. We're back. Forgive me, just allow me to send this beautiful tweet out as we get underway in the second half. Do we have any changes made? Virgil van Dijk. He's a centre half, he's a number 4. Watch him defend, and we watch him score. He'll pass the ball, come as you like. He's Virgil van Dijk, he's Virgil van Dijk. Tweet sent. Go check it out, like it, retweet. Liverpool will beat Wolverhampton, says Mike Zaza. Thank you for sticking with us through the halftime break. Mike, where are you tuning in from? Introduce yourself. Happy to have a new subscriber, hopefully. And what I most want is Liverpool win today. So it'll be interesting to see how hairy this gets. And Thiago wins it high up the field, and it gets to Jota, who plays it over to Salah, who's just a little bit sloppy with his unselfish, mind you, ball into Sadio Mane, but the goalkeeper is out to collect. Adama Traore is putting the pressure on Virgil, and he seemed to be in control up until he had a sloppy touch away. Trent is able to come back and bail him out. I think Virgil might be asking the ref if there was a foul there. I don't think so, but Virgil's going to need to be a little cleaner there. Grealish 10 is asking if United are going to win tomorrow. I don't know about that because it's United. To be honest, I'm just looking up who they're even playing. They're playing Crystal Palace at home at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. The New York time zone, for those of you unfamiliar with where I am. Crystal Palace is a good team. And even if they weren't, there's no givens with United. I think United probably will win tomorrow just because I have a feeling that Big Ralph Ragnick will actually be quite a good appointment. That's just based on reputation. I honestly firsthand don't know so much about him. I know that he was really heavily involved in shaping the Red Bulls' really whole suite of teams. Let's see here. goodness, I was on my phone and we almost had one of these. Thiago had a bit of a pinball effort in on goal, but it was blocked by the Wolverhampton defense, and Liverpool have to wait just a little while longer for the opening goal of this match. Let's see here. Can I get a share? What's happening? See if I get some input from channel friend Liverpool Lee. See what he thinks of this match. I know Liverpool fans will in particular be very down about any non-victory here, as it will be seen as a huge opportunity squandered. Virgil has the ball inside our own half. There's only 3 Liverpool players inside our own half. That is Thiago, Matip, and Virgil, excluding Alisson, of course. Although of all goalkeepers in the world to be in the opponent's half, Alisson would probably be the one. But not this time. It's Fabinho quite far up the pitch to finding Salah, who he got thwarted by, I believe, Ait Nouri there. He's not had a bad game. He's had a pretty good performance. He's a little sloppy, particularly on the ball. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Dendoncker who put the challenge in on Mo, and he is clutching his left foot that got stamped on, incidentally. I think most people would probably consider that a soft free kick had it been given. But again, I put up my first YouTube short about Mo Salah being an anti-diver, which is a phrase that I coined. Should trademark it. But yeah, he gets pulled and dragged and tackled and held all the time, and most of the time he doesn't go down. And I think anyone watching for maybe 5 seconds will give him credit for not going down, but then it doesn't live that long in the memory, and people tend to remember the more the fewer and far between times where he does go down, and sometimes he can dive. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I think way more than him diving is staying on his feet and being quite an honest player. So just trying to put that vibe out into the world to have people recognize that as a dangerous ball gets put in by Mane, and it was a retreating Cody who had to clear the ball from his 6. It is one of those that sometimes can end up in the back of the defender's own net, but Cody made a good enough contact on it to clear the ball, as the ball just runs out of play for Trent, and Wolves have the ball inside their own half, or they have a throw-in at least. Grealish 10, loving the feedback. Thank you just off the top for sending in all your comments today. I would love for you to be a subscriber to the channel and join me on future streams. His question is Salah the best in the world right now? Yes, of course he is. I'm not just saying that because he's a Liverpool fan. Since I'm a Liverpool fan, he is so on fire. There's no other player in the world that can do what he does. I think Salah honestly is slept on a little bit in terms of his consistency. I'm not saying right now. I do think that he's getting his due praise, but I don't think people recognize just how consistent he is. I mean, I think there was of course there's I'm not even gonna say, I'm gonna hold to my self-appointed rule that I will not be discussing the French magazine award for selling shirts worldwide, of which a certain Argentine has won 7 ridiculously. But anyway, since I'm not talking about that, I would just say that Mo Salah is the best player in the world right now. I think because people were talking about him in contention for that, again, I will say, how is the best player in the best league in the world considered the 7th best player in the world? It's ridiculous. But anyway, people would point to, Liverpool didn't have such a great season. Well, guess what? Salah was still banging in the goals. And I think even despite, Liverpool not playing well, I still think that he's been the best player in the world during that time. People were pointing to Benzema, having a similar contribution to Real Madrid. Okay, maybe. I don't watch Real Madrid, but guess what? Real Madrid aren't relevant right now. Oh, and a terrible back pass is Alisson able to sweep clear. Raul, no, it wasn't Raul. Some Wolves player was running onto that, and it did have the semblance of this is a brutal mistake that will be punished, but thankfully Alisson was quick enough off his line. I think that was Robbo. Hopefully I'm not falsely accusing him of playing a bad ball back, but lucky for Liverpool to escape from that danger. Some Liverpool players zipping down the touchline as a sub, and Thiago has a rip at the top of the box, and it is blocked out for a Liverpool throw-in. But all Liverpool fans around the world really excited anytime Thiago gets on the ball these days, as he is in a rich goal-scoring vein of form, at least for himself. He scored maybe 2 or 3 goals in the last maybe 5 games, and including some real screamers. Wolves pinned in a bit, trying to sweep clear. Grealish 10 quite honorably saying that he agrees that Salah is the best player in the world, and he's reminding me that this is coming from a United fan. Very honorable of you. What was I going to say? Yeah, so Grealish 10. Please do let us in on the screen name, or the username. Screen name is a bit dated of a term. Being Grealish 10, maybe I might guess that you were a Grealish fan before he joined City. Grealish is definitely a fun player to watch. Oh, his Wolves had Alisson with a great save. Alisson with a great save, bailing us out of trouble there. Wolves really should have taken the lead there as... Oh, and Jota! The goalkeeper's out! Jota! You had no goal and no goalkeeper, and... My goodness, Connor Cody is back on the line. Jota was dribbling it into the goal, and he just blasts it. And that really should have been a goal for Liverpool, as the ball goes up the field, almost a goal at the other end of the pitch, plays it up to Jota, and the birthday boy cannot get on the score sheet. Let's watch this again, as Jota does a fine job bullying the defender off the ball. Cody retreats back, as well as, I believe that's Max Kilman, and Jota just tries to fire the ball. Honestly, Jota could have... he could have almost even dribbled further in and just toe poked it. but I'm not going to second guess him. He's been great to us. It just, that chance really should have been finished off. But it's okay, because if you think like Klopp, you'll know that the chances will keep coming. And I still have the faith that Liverpool will still get the win today. But boy, was that a very exciting chance for Liverpool. Always gotta love it. I hope what I bring to the viewers is passion and excitement, and if the game is any sort of interesting, I very often will end up on the floor like you just saw. I prefer in exhilaration as opposed to agony, but it happens. This is why we love the game. Here's Allison getting the ball as I think there's a garbage bag on the pitch, something kind of blowing around in the middle of the field. Not all the time that you see that. Oh, and a ball's played in for Henderson, who's into the 18-yard area, dribbles out of it as he was kind of shepherded away by Roman Saiz. Oh, that was another not stat per se, but fun tidbit that I had was the number of Wolves players that have been linked with Liverpool in the past couple of years. Of course, Adama, Ruben Neves, Fabinho's going to pick up a yellow card here as he takes down Adama down the right-hand side. I'll take that because you never know with Adama what kind of chance he's going to create with his speed. And you know, that's not just a desperate challenge. I mean, I think Fabinho oh my goodness, before it just occurred to me that when I was rattling off all the best players in the world that Liverpool have, of course, the best defensive midfielder in the world, no question. Fabinho has been the best defensive mid in the world for the past 3 years. Throughout the entire time, it's baffling to me how even Brazil don't recognize that, and they often play Casemiro ahead of him. Please, Fabinho is definitely the best. Oh, and Wolves should have had another goal, but I assume that this is going to be offside. But a really nice ball played in near post, and it was Saiz and another Wolves player that, whether they were offside or not, certainly looked offside, and that turns into a compliment if you're onside in terms of the ball, the timing of the run, all of that. I'm not sure what the exact decision was there, but effectively it ends up being the same thing, whether it was a goal kick or an offside. Okay, Grealish 10 making a joke, I believe, saying, no, it wasn't Fabinho. The best midfielder is Fred. Okay. I'm 90% sure that you don't actually believe that. But Fabinho, as I was saying, in addition to being the best defensive mid, also, unsurprisingly, I think the best tackler in the world. He is fantastic with his scissor legs, as we call them. Liverpool just looking a little sloppy right now. Grealish, number 10, does throw the laughing emoji, confirming that he was indeed kidding. Mike Zaza says Fred with a hat. Yeah, Fred, McFred, as they're called, the Man United midfield swivel is, well, I was going to say everything wrong with United. I mean, I think certainly there are multiple things going wrong with United. I think first and foremost you had to start with Ole, who I have said for years, if not straight away from his appointment, that United would never win anything of note with Ole in charge. He just isn't that. It's astonishing that he was named in the first place. But anyway, I do think that they have talent. And while it was very amusing to watch United these last couple of years under Ole, of course with the comfort level that nothing was ever really going to change consistently so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what again, I assume competent Ragnick can do and turn around, and of course him being such a philosopher of the game, again based on reputation, what he does to turn around and utilize with United. I think there's a lot of pieces that other teams would acknowledge are good pieces. I am definitely an anti-Pogba guy. Not saying he's not talented, but he's got Grealish 10 says United suck under Ole. Yes, they sure did. Yeah, so definitely an anti-Pogba guy. I won't spend too much more time on United. I think it's, all the things that I would tend to say are somewhat obvious. I'm not a Pogba guy. McFred needs to get revamped. I'm not a Luke Shaw guy either. Harry Maguire, I think, is a joke. I know he can be pretty good, but I would never trust him. Especially as a leader. It's laughable that he has worn the captain's armband for United. Also some off-the-field trouble. But yeah, I mean, their attack is pretty good. I do think it's quite a tricky thing to unlock in signing Ronaldo. It's such a weird thing because he's scored so many goals for United and seemed from the outside perspective to be, part of the thing going right with United. But you have to marry Ronaldo, and I know everyone says it, but he's not as mobile. He can't press. Maybe that's a little bit overplayed, but it's certainly not a glove fit with him slotting into that team, that young team that really was onto something, I think. With, Sancho coming in and Bruno has to feel like the star man, Rashford, Greenwood. There's so many good things. Even Cavani really playing well last season, and then Cristiano just kind of mixes everything up in not a good way. So Origi coming on for Hendo, that happened about a minute ago. So that's an interesting move. So I don't know what that does to how Liverpool actually line up. I don't really know. Maybe it's just a 4-4-2 because typically if you put a fourth attacker on the pitch, it's with Firmino, and then he can drop into the hole. Mike Zaza asked me Matip or Gomez. Interesting question. I think if you asked me maybe 4 months ago, I would have told you Gomez. I'm a Gomez guy. I also like Matip. I have nothing against him. He's done phenomenally for the club. Everyone always likes to say that Milner is one of the best free signings in Premier League history, which he is. How about giving a little love to Matip? Obviously, both of them have their injury trouble. I definitely like the fact that Gomez is younger. I think Gomez is probably going through a confidence struggle right now. I just say that because I know how favored he was under Klopp. He and Virgil were the two best center backs in the league, arguably, when Gomez got injured against West Ham, I want to say in January or February of 2 seasons ago. So really unfortunate. It's just it's difficult what happens with Gomez going forward. Oh, beautiful ball in by Salah. And it's Mane who can't get on the end of it. And I think Mane might have been offside there. We are into the 70th minute, so we only have 20 minutes to really break this deadlock. As so many Liverpool fans will be desperate to do. So yeah, that was all a commentary on Matip or Gomez as of 4 months ago. now I don't think you can have a question. I mean, Virgil really is getting back to his best, and he is the best center back in the world. But I think people acknowledge that he wasn't, he didn't just slot right in and he's back to his peak. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't even really a debate. Many people were saying that Matip was our best center back in the first 2 months of the season. So you really can have no debate or any question about Matip being our number 2 center back. And again, knock on wood, hope we stay injury-free the entire team, but particularly, Matip and Virgil and, of course, Alisson and some, well, anyway, that's just everybody. But Matip really in particular, I was saying that because he has had his injury struggles. Grealish 10, thrown in Nat Phillips. Hey, listen, I think we can lovingly joke about him. I do think he's quite a good defender. I mean, I don't think it would be crazy for 12 Premier League teams to actually sign him for anywhere between 10 and 20 million. 20 million is probably a little high, but listen, he's a serviceable center back. He's almost kind of fitting into the Origi category where some teams might not be looking to sign him for that X number of pounds, whatever our price tag is, hence why he hasn't moved, or the both of them. But I think Origi, to us, if you sell Origi, then you have to go sign a player to replace him in that sort of reserve category. It's such an interesting position to be in because you want to sign a player that's good enough to come in where necessary, but a player that's willing to not start all the time. In order to sign a player that's good enough, you have to spend, unless it's like this player has 12 months on his contract and you get lucky, you're going to spend 20 million, 25 million, something like that. And that's why nothing has really ever changed there with Origi. And now I'm comparing that to Nat Phillips because, okay, great, you sell him, but guess what? It's very simple. It's just very simple economics. He's more valuable to us than he is to somebody else, evidently. So he stays with the club, and I'm happy in both cases for that to happen. I know Liverpool fans' patience run thin with Origi. But listen, he's contributed so well and opportunistically in those championship seasons that you got to hand it to him. You can't really knock him so much. And yeah, Nat Phillips was what did we call him? There's some Maldini fusion of his name or something, but yeah, I mean, even though we never really thought of him as a Liverpool caliber player, he slotted in as the 6th or 7th choice center back along with Reece Williams, and yeah, I'm happy for him to be part. Anyway, you think you were joking, so I probably spoke about him for too long as it is. But here's Mane in the 74th minute taking on Nelson Semedo, who gets a lucky block on the cross, and the Wolves keeper is able to collect. Here's Origi who plays it into the middle and just unlucky to not find Mane or Origi. And Wolves actually a bit lucky that the ball has hit the referee on their pass forward. I didn't really see who that was intended for, so the referee dutifully gives them a drop ball. I thought it was an indirect free kick. Not that it really matters, but he just gave a drop ball to Neves, who recycled it to the goalkeeper, who booted it upfield, and it got to Matip, and now it's Fabinho, and Liverpool are going to gain possession, and Jota goes to Origi, back to Thiago, and it's out to Bravo. As I just checked Twitter just before, and there's a beautiful move. Really nice little touches in the box. as very customary for Liverpool. Really good chemistry in this team, and it was Jota and an inverted wing-back type of play for Robbo. Robbo almost did a double give-and-go, first with Origi, then to Jota, who's going to lay it off, and really any sort of touch or shot on goal by Robbo probably would have gotten the job done. But yeah, I was just saying, as I was checking Twitter, exactly what I would say. I mean, I always tend to say things like this, that patience is needed because Wolves are motivated and very well organized, so said the tweet. But yeah, I think we still can get it done. I mean, I think the reason I bring that up is because I think Liverpool fans are, and maybe all Twitter fans are, but just very impatient, and you almost preempt the feeling that you are thinking you're going to feel at the end of the game if this result stands, that you're going to be frustrated. And so, yeah, certainly patience is needed. I don't know. Do fans on Twitter really even matter? Probably not. I think maybe after the fact you get a little too much of, what do you call it, armchair analysts. Here comes Salah, who's in the box, and he's, just a bad touch at the wrong time. The typical Mo Salah wriggles through and gets a little toe poke finish there, or side-footed into the signing. But I like the energy that's coming in. And this is what I was getting at, is I don't think maybe the Twitter fans matter. I mean, certainly not during the game. It's not as if Liverpool players are reading it during the game, but it does translate in the stands that if you get these fans that go jump on Twitter, you have that mentality, you're like, oh, this is crap, we're going to throw this away, this opportunity, and then those very fans go into Anfield or away to Molynieux, but that home crowd, once you start to sense that nervousness and that stress, the players feel that too. So I do think it is really important that fans are, of course it's ultimately down to the players and the manager to have the mentality to really have faith in yourself. As Trent takes an effort on goal, as that was soaring about a yard over the bar from about 23 yards. Yep. But anyway, I was saying that it can truly have a really big impact that, if this game were at Anfield, that the fans are still singing and you still believe that Liverpool are still going to get it done. And Klopp is, for the 203rd reason, the best manager in the world, because every time Liverpool have a good move and there is that sloppy touch from Salah or that wayward shot from Mane, you see Klopp combating that groan with a vociferous clap or a pumped up look or shout, and then it's monkey see, monkey do. Once the cool guy, the cool kid in school starts doing that, then everybody views him and then follows suit. So just all need to learn to be a bit more like Klopp. Here's Origi, his graphic as he came on earlier, of course, and Ox is just putting his kit on. We'll see who he comes in for. I don't know where my Ox graphic. Anyway. Again, to reiterate for those of you, your first time on the channel, it's Origi tries to do a nice Cruyff turn and then curl the ball. He was off balance as soon as he was hitting that one. So that goes out for a Wolves goal kick, as here comes Ox for, I'm going to guess he's going to come on for Thiago. We shall see. Klopp wants to see some of this. Boom. I still think we're going to get it. I still think we're going to... Oh, and there the ball go unforced error out of bounds. But yeah, I still think that Liverpool are going to get a winner. Although, as I was saying, the record broke. Oh, and Virgil has to clear the ball. It's going to go out for a Wolves corner. As Grealish 10 says, seems like Liverpool going to get 1 point today. I don't know. Things, I don't know. We'll see. But Connor Cody gesturing to the corner taker to slow down. It's Nori plays it in, and Virgil's the one that gets a slight touch to it. And Wolves are going to get a throw-in down the right-hand side. Ox is going to come on, and it is for Jota, the birthday boy. Unfortunately, doesn't get that goal, and he certainly had the best chance of the game. I just hope that people don't harp on him too much. I guess it's just going to happen because with all that this game means in terms of going top of the Premier League and having such an obvious chance, I guess you gotta take some responsibility for it. But again, I think you gotta give the benefit. You gotta give a bit of patience and a longer leash to players that have been so good to us. You really can't hammer them if they make a mistake. Allison gets the ball clear. I don't know, kind of reflecting on the game as a whole. I don't think. Again, I've said on the channel before that I think, particularly Ox. Obviously, he didn't start today, but he was getting a run of games where he was starting, and I think that people's opinions of him were completely based on the result. If we won, he was part of the solution. Very well done, Ox. Great job. If we lost, it was, Ox looked lost, blah, blah, blah. And I think it just, my point, I'm not saying that you can't have those opinions, but I think it just got swept up in the overall, just the overall emotion of the game. And it wasn't really rooted in a whole lot of everything. So, anyway, I think that it's very easy to say, like, I'm frustrated with how Liverpool played. You can be frustrated with the result, but I think I just challenge people to divorce yourself from the result and the performance. I think the performance has been pretty good. With that said, overall, how many chances did we create? But this isn't one of those games where you, stereotypically come up against Burnley and you can't find the key to unlock the defense. We've really controlled the ball well. It hasn't been a classic Liverpool performance, but I still wouldn't say that this is a bad performance. It's a bad result if you draw, for sure. I'm not trying to sugarcoat that, but I think the individual passes have been pretty good. There's been a couple of wayward ones, but that's not completely emblematic of the performance. On a ball in, to Origi, it was Max Kilman who had to try and clear it. And again, that was one of those that could have ended up as an own goal. That would have been such a treat for us to be gifted an own goal there. That's just what we would have needed. But not yet. We're still going to have to earn it, it seems like. As Nori goes down with a cramp. Somewhat suspiciously, the ref points to his watch that it will be added time. All right. Aït-Nouri is still on the ground, really milking this cramp. And the ref is sending him to the sideline, and he has to because the medical team came on, and that is interesting. If there's, it's a trade-off that you try to milk up some time with a bit of gamesmanship, but now the Wolves are playing with 10 men, and that might come back to bite them in the butt. Trent lines up the corner. And it's Fabinho on the edge of the box. Looked like he might have taken a shot, but he plays it to Salah, who crosses it in. Oh, and it falls to Mane! Oh, and it's a save by the goalkeeper. That was a beautiful chance. Oh, that was such a lucky bounce to fall to Mane there. And a fine save by the goalkeeper, but maybe Mane just needs to pick out a corner as Robbo plays in the corner, and it's headed up by Wolves. Not completely clear. They're in possession now. Molynieux's got it, drops it back to his center back, who boots it upfield. Adama Traore doing some of the dirty work in trying to some hold-up play. And Raul Jimenez is offside. Interesting. Oh boy, what happened to my stream? Uh-oh. Not a good time to be messing around, NBC. Grealish 10, bro, Liverpool can't draw today. They have to win this game 100%. Yeah, I agree. Everyone agrees with you. Adama Traore makes way for Trincao, the Barcelona player who has like a £400 million release clause. Bit ridiculous. Grealish 10, I seem to, I have a theory that you're like a closet Liverpool fan, or maybe just incredibly honest and fair. Either way, appreciate having you in the chat today. You've been non-stop, which is great. That's what I like. Oh, and it's Ox who plays it through the Origi, and Salah and Mane were closing in on the goal. Oh, and it's Robbo at the back post. Oh, usually Robbo just blasts that one on frame, and just unfortunate. It is frustrating as a Liverpool fan to see just these semi-off touches in crucial moments. A finish that isn't in the corner. A decision where players are opting to pass when you really feel that they should shoot, and them's the breaks, I think. I don't know. We're in the 90th minute. Trent plays it into Origi. Thiago's got it. Plays it out to Robbo. Robbo to Thiago. He finds Fabinho. Trent on the outside. He plays it through to Fabinho, who plays it through. It falls to Mo. He turns inside. He shoots. Oh, and it is saved by Jose Sa, as Salah cannot get the contact or the power really required, as he tried to beat him near post. Not a bad effort. That was the first time ever in my life I've seen Virgil, as he famously always has faith in Salah before scoring. He always has the hands raised, knowing that it's going to find the back of the net. He did so, and he was wrong. His prediction was wrong this time. There were 5 minutes to be added. in stoppage. Brought to you by Progressive. A lot of tussles happening with loop balls upfield by Wolves today, both with Adama and Raul Jimenez. A lot of really physical play. Not really as effective as as we've seen Michel Antonio really body defenders around. Really just more of like a nuisance, as Liverpool defenders have been able to deal with it. But certainly Wolves players getting in the right positions. Again, not being able to retain possession so much, but certainly not making it easy on Liverpool defenders. Trent and Fabinho playing a little bit of keep away as Fabinho finds Origi and he tries to take a first time through ball and it just gives possession away. All right, I've accepted that this match is going to end in a draw. Hopefully I'm wrong, as here comes another former Liverpool man, Kiana Hoover, coming onto the pitch for Ait Nouri, who has showed he has been able to waste time quite effectively. Kiana Hoover has the same haircut as Ait Nouri. Ball hoofed upfield by the goalkeeper. Virgil wins it. Come on, Reds. We can do this. Still 2.5 minutes in the match. Robbo tries to throw it as far as he can. It finds a Wolves player. Now, Liverpool do have the ball back. They'll be able to reload. I think that was an offside. Fabinho plays quickly. Here comes Matip surging forward. He's able to put a nice little feint in on his defender, send him the wrong way, but it was Jimenez that made up for his teammate. And Grealish 10 says, come on, it's going to be a last-minute win. I hope so. Let's see it. Let's see it. Here's Trent on the ball. Drops it back to Matip. He plays it forward directly to Mo as Ox is with him, makes a run. Salah crosses it in. That was a nice looking cross, but just not in the immediate vicinity of Origi. It looked good as the cross was coming in. Here are Wolves carrying the ball upfield. Not enough Liverpool players are committing forward to close down. That was Kiana Hoover. And I have to give credit to the referee today. There's been a bunch of non-calls that I'm happy that he has not blown his whistle on that other referees might have. And here's Salah, who takes a nice first touch. He's down the right-hand side in the Salah territory. It's Origi with the goal! Woo! 1-0! Let's go! Divock Origi! Woo! Let's go! Boom! There it is! That's right, Grealish. Grealish 10. Divock Origi. Woo! Boy, do we love him. Let's go. There's the win. Liverpool lead. Where are you at? Shane McGovern. Woo! Liverpool have brightened the day of every Liverpool fan as Liverpool will go top of the Premier League because of super sub Divock Origi. Woo! There it is. There he is, baby. Thank you, Mo Salah. Another assist. And Diogo Jota can enjoy his birthday as Origi puts Liverpool in the lead and spares the blushes of Liverpool. And here we go. Divock Origi, says Mike Zaza. I told you, says Grealish 10. We love it. Let's go, broski. Zaza putting the fire in the chat. Grealish said, I told you. Again, all credit to you. You know what that means. You just need to tune in every single week. The good luck charm, Grealish 10, the fairest Man United fan in the world. That's what I bestow upon you. Yes, congrats from United fan. Fire emoji. Woo! Mo Salah making way. As it is... who's coming on? Oh, I don't want to do that. 5. There we go. It is Jimmy Milner coming on for the last seconds of the game. Woo! That's why you gotta love football. You gotta love this Liverpool team. Sure, they haven't scored the 2 goals to keep the record going, but I don't think anyone will care about that. We'll take the 3 points. The Cardiac Kids do it again. And this is why you gotta love the Jurgen Klopp team. You gotta love it. Always entertaining. There it is. The final whistle goes. It is Liverpool 1-0. Woo! That one feels good. I want to see all the Liverpool family on Twitter going nuts. Enjoy the rest of your day. Liverpool, top of the Premier League, at least for another hour or 2, as Man City play Watford. They are surely going to win that one. They always kill Watford. I think in the Premier League fixtures of done deals, that is the most predictable match. Man, credit to Wolves for the fight that they showed today. I think they definitely deserved a draw. There's even a couple times where they could have scored today. Mike Zaza says 3 points. Yes, sir. We love it. Before you guys go, please do follow me on Twitter. Follow me, subscribe on YouTube. Really appreciate the input that you guys have had today. Man, what a feeling that is. That's why we love the beautiful game. And with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to celebrate like all hell. What a day. There it is. And Grealish, before we sign off, wants to say, tomorrow, United going to get 3 points. Hey, go for it. I'll take the 3 points for Liverpool. You can take 3 points for United. That offer stands today and today only. Grealish 10 subscribed. Thanks, bro. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Let's do it again sometime very soon. And this has been